I hope that sometime in the course of this past week that you took that S on the front of your shirt, if it's there, and ripped it off and threw it away. If you've been trying to sew an S onto the front of your shirt, I hope you stopped mid-stitch, threw away the needle, threw away the thread. Because if you did not, I have totally failed as a pastor. Because my prayer was that last week, you and I would be convinced that we are not now, neither will we ever be, super Christians. You and I are humans. And we saw that at the end of a very long, illustrious, faithful life of following Christ and being his disciple, Peter was still human. And it isn't as if at the end of his life that Peter's humanity sort of flared up one last time. That from this time on the beach until the end, that for the most part he was a super Christian, but then at the end his humanity came raging back. No, that's not the case. Peter dealt with his humanity in every moment of his life. Maybe in many or even most of those present moments of his life, Peter's humanity fought against his faithfully following Christ. So whereas last week we focused on the end and thought about the end of our lives and making it there by the grace and the mercy of the Lord, this week we're going to focus on those present moments, the moments you and I face each day of our lives. You know, sometimes we imagine our end, our going out as a blaze of glory, as this spectacular moment of faithfulness. But in reality, that's not what our life is about. Our life is about each moment. Our lives are about the little sparks, lighting those matches of faithfulness day by day, moment by moment, where you and I, as human beings, seek to faithfully follow Christ. And at the end of the day, at the end of each day, that is what life is about for you and for me. It's about faithfully following Christ. Did we follow him faithfully? Every day, you and I must overcome our humanity to be faithful followers of Christ. I'm going to stop the video now and give you time to think about a few things and answer a couple of questions. One is, what are your biggest distractions from following Christ? And secondly, what part of your humanity do you struggle with most to overcome in order to faithfully follow Christ? Those questions are printed there in your worship guide, and when you've had a chance to think about them and answer them, I'm going to ask you to read the passage for yourself again this week. It's the same one, John chapter 21, beginning in verse 18, but extending a couple of verses further this week until verse 22. So when you've had time to answer those questions and read the passage, join me again and we'll begin talking about being faithful followers of Christ.